Sean, what can the young players take out of this experience over the second half, where you're in a playoff race, you're fighting for your lives pretty much every game over the last 3 weeks?
I think that every game matters, whether it's in March, April, even in December. I think, as we can see, every point matters, and you can't really take any nights off at any point. You got to do anything you can every night to try to get the 2 points, and maybe that's the biggest thing we can learn as a young team. And then obviously, I think it stings right now. This feeling of not making it, especially with the situation we were in. But maybe use this as motivation to kind of raise our game to another level next year.
Coming into the season, you obviously hadn't played in almost, it seemed like 2 years. You mentioned a couple times over the last few weeks that the latter part of the season isn't what you wanted it to be like. Did it kind of feel like the games were kind of catching up to you a little bit, that you were still trying to get back into that full 82-game season?
Obviously, but I don't think it's an excuse. I mean, my body was feeling, better as the year went on. Earlier in the year, I was more banged up at times and got through it. So that's not an excuse for my play. I just, plain simple, sucked down the road, and I mean, it's mental. I think a lot of it. Like you said, you don't play for almost 2-3 years at that stage of the year. You go through some ups and downs throughout the years, throughout the seasons, and it's how you handle them. And I think I can maybe learn from this experience. Obviously, not the right way that I wish it would have went, but I guess I'll learn from it and be better down the road here.
You had that mid-January stretch where you missed a couple of games. How long, when you came back, did it take till you started really kind of feeling a little bit more like yourself again?
I mean, I feel my game itself never really came back after that. If you really look back at it, but you know what? I was just trying to grind through it. Show up every night and try to help the team win in any way I could. Obviously, wasn't good enough, but I guess I never really found that jump that I had maybe earlier in the year.
Does the first half, though, give you confidence that, with the summer of work, having the year behind you, that you can have that level of play for a full season, well into your 30s?
Yeah, I think so. Like you said, it's not like my first 40 games I thought they were pretty good, honestly, especially coming back off of these 2 back surgeries. I think I somewhat proved that I can still be a good player in this league. I still have the belief and the confidence that I'll be back to that level next year, and I just got to put the work in this summer to get back at that level.
Sean, the 2 games you came out of the lineup and that whole situation, I know it's in the past now, but maybe looking back on it, do you wish that had maybe been handled differently by Torts? Do you feel like maybe you could have handled it better? Do you feel like it affected the team at all the time it happened? How do you look back at that whole situation and maybe the effect that it had, if any?
Yeah, I've tried not to look back at it, honestly. It's behind me now. I didn't want to be a distraction or anything. I thought actually the team responded pretty well with 3 points out of 4 the next 2 games. So that's all that mattered, really. I might have caught up in some somewhat comments that were a little blown out of proportion, I think, just through my emotions. But like I said, it's behind me, and it is what it is. And the boys got 3 out of the 4 points, so that's all that mattered really at that point of the year.
Thinking back to last year, Travis Sanheim got scratched, and he mentioned at the start of training camp that he kind of was able to talk with John Tortorella during the summer and clear the air. Do you think there's a need for kind of a similar, clearing the air moment this summer with Torts to prepare for next year?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some conversations here down the road, and we've had some since, so it's all good. We've moved on, and we're just going to keep building this team to the next level.
I guess this might be a better question for next year, but to follow up on that, when you go through something like that with your head coach, you being the captain, does that kind of make, as you guys talk about, does that kind of make your bond a little bit stronger, that you get into a situation like that it can be handled a little bit differently, or is it just one of those things where it's like he understands you a little bit better and you understand him a little bit better?
I'm not sure to understand the question, but
When you go through something like that, like obviously the benching and everything like that would happen like that, does it kind of, when you guys have those conversations, does it kind of bring you guys a little bit together a little bit more, in essence, where you understand him a little bit better and what he's asking of you and then what he's asking, you asking
Yeah.
him, basically?
Yeah, it can, obviously. We've agreed on some things and disagreed on other. Like I said, we don't have to agree on everything, but as long as we work together and push for the same goal, that's all that matters. So I think that's the kind of relationship we have.
Sean, after that 8-game stretch, especially the Columbus and Montreal games, it would have been easy to just, stay down. What does it say to the character of the room that you ended up taking into the third period of a tied game in game 82?
Yeah, all year I thought we fought hard all year. There's no quit in our game at any moment. We were in a lot of tight games all year long. Came back, won some big games. Obviously that stretch was unfortunate, but if you look at it, except maybe the Montreal game, there was no quit at all. It was a tough stretch, obviously at a bad time, but we knew we weren't going to quit those last 3 games, and we gave ourselves a little chance. Just came short, I guess.
Sean, you've been here a number of years, and kind of playing off of that, does it almost make next year even more exciting based on how this year went and how everyone grew and developed and taking it to that game 82? Does it, as much as it stings right now, not making the playoffs, does it almost make you look even more forward to next year, knowing what next year can bring with how everyone developed this year? Yeah,
well, it's fun to see our team grow, and if you look at the process, the rebuild, we're building something special, I think. But now, that being said, yeah, we had a good year and all that, and we beat some expectations. But you got to do it all over again next year, and it's not going to be easy. But I think if we keep growing and keep believing in our team, we can reach that next level, and that's obviously exciting.
This is obviously quite a young team. What do you think the group can kind of take away from playing in high-stakes games like last night and this season?
Yeah, I think we just learned how much it hurts to lose those games. We want to be in that playoff spot, and you just see how hard it was to get into the spot that we were in, and we just know that we just got to give even more and take that next step to be a team that's in the playoffs.
You've gotten a lot more physically involved. We've seen you in the middle of some pretty serious scrums there. What kind of inspired that change in you to just throw yourself into the games more and kind of stand up for your teammates when you need to?
Yeah, I mean, just trying to play as hard as I can and not back down from anyone. Not going to be out there fighting anyone or anything like that, but I think just playing as hard as I can and not taking my foot off the gas at all, and just going to the hard areas, and that's going to cause those scrums.
When you talk about the learning experiences from this year, ice time up and down a little bit, scratch some games, sent back to the Phantoms, but in getting through the adversity, do you feel that makes you, mentally stronger moving forward?
Yeah, I think it helps. As long as you take these experiences in a positive way, you can learn from them and grow from them. Not the first guy in this league that's ever had to go through stuff like that, and a lot of guys have done it, and it's helped them a lot in their careers. So I think as long as you take those moments and those experiences the right way and reflect and try to improve upon something that obviously wasn't going right or something that was going right or wasn't going right. Just taking something from that and then trying to improve every day.
It might be a little early to ask this question, but do you have an idea of the specific things you want to work on this summer, especially after getting your first full season taste of the NHL and learning where you need to be better?
Yeah, I want to improve in every area, but I think my main focus has got to be just physically and conditioning wise. I think you got to come into camp feeling your best, and as a smaller guy, I have to do a little bit more than everyone else.
When you did get sent down, a lot of guys have different reactions when they get sent to the minors. You went down there, you worked hard, and you got recalled. Did it prove anything to yourself that in that moment that you could have went many different ways, but you put your head down, you worked, and you got recalled?
Yeah, I knew you can handle it two ways. You can go down there and feel sorry for yourself, or you can do what you can to get back up here. And I knew feeling sorry for yourself wasn't the right one. That was an obvious choice to go down there and be positive and do what I can. And they got a great group down there that I have a lot of friends there, and so going down there, it was enjoyable and it was a good experience for me.
Bobby, just out of curiosity, the Flyers signed Massimo Rizzo today to a two-year contract. You played with him for a year at Denver. Just maybe your thoughts on him joining the Flyers now with the contract and just what he can bring to a lineup.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. He's a good player and a good person. He's obviously skilled and can make a difference offensively. You see his stats in college, and he has those stats for a reason. I think he'll be a really good pro player.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby.
Played a lot in this league. With how the season transpired there in the second half, was it kind of challenging, just not from an all-nice perspective, but offensive how to get back into the lineup?
For sure. I guess the word I could say is just disappointed. Yeah, it's unlike any situation I've ever been in my career, and so yeah.
How do you feel about I know it's a big question, how you feel about your future here? Just, I'm sure you were frustrated with your role down the stretch. How do you feel about the big picture and where you stand?
That's a good question. I have one more year on my contract, and I know the player I am, and I'll never lose sight in how I am and what has made me the player I am today and what has got me to this level. And I still feel like I have a lot of juice left in the tank for the right situation. And I think that question's above my pay grade. So control what I can control.
Physically, did you feel okay for most part of the year? Obviously, coming off of
Yeah, for sure. I think start of the season, first half of the season, I was had a lot of juice in the tank and was playing good and scoring goals and putting up points and that sort of thing. And I think the second half kind of got away from me a little bit as far as just the wear and tear and grind. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it that way, but I still think I have a lot of juice left in the tank.
And when you are in a situation you're in later in the season, not getting as many minutes, those kind of things, is it mentally hard sometimes to focus on, I don't say a small role, but a different kind of role, right? To feel like you're contributing and maybe get back a little bit to playing.
No, and that was that aspect of it was like I've never experienced. All 13 years I've been a go-to guy and contributed offensively and been put in situations to have success. So when you go from that to kind of in and out of the lineup, and when I'm in the lineup on the fourth line with limited minutes, there's only so much you can do. So I think when I was out there, I tried my hardest to just make some sort of impact. I've never experienced that. So like going from playing 1 to 3 shifts a period, it's hard. But I thought, being a good teammate and control what I can control, and I'll never go down that negative road. I want all my teammates to succeed and do well, and we all want to be difference makers. So when your role does change, you have to find ways to contribute any way you can. And unfortunately, it wasn't really on the score sheet, but I thought overall I handled it pretty well.
Cam, you obviously have the long-standing relationship with John Tortorella dating back to your days in Columbus. You're obviously an intense competitor. Did the second half kind of test your relationship with him in terms of not getting to play as much as you want?
Yeah, I mean, Torts and I definitely have a unique relationship. I think all the conversations we've had this year together, it's, I never want one or two things to hinder our relationship, and those are the conversations we've had, and he was very honest at the beginning of the season, and so is management to the organization, to the fans, just that we're going younger, and those guys are going to get more of an opportunity. So I get it. And Torts and I, like I said, we're going to agree to disagree on a lot of things, but it is what it is at this point.
You've obviously played under John for this time. To follow up on this question a little bit, did you experience anything with other players in that same aspect that you went through while you were in Columbus that he did with other players, or was it just this is a totally new experience completely for you?
I mean, I have a lot of friends around the league that are playing and obviously that are retired that have played for Torts. And, I mean, you always kind of pick people's ears and that sort of thing. But, I mean, I think I've played under Torts. I think I've been the longest player to ever play under Torts. So it doesn't matter what anyone says. I think for me it's what has made me successful, and how can I get back to that, to be one of those go-to guys again? And that's all I'm really going to focus on. I don't care what anyone says. I just got to believe in myself like I always had and prove everyone wrong like I've always had my whole life. And just go from there and have a great summer as far as working out and training hard. And I know this is a very important summer for me, getting back to the player I want to be, and I know I can be. That's all I'm going to focus on.
Were you able to train last summer the way, like fully train, or is this summer are you gonna be able to do a little bit more this summer in preparation for the season?
Yeah, I mean, last summer is definitely a little different. I mean, I got cleared at the end of last season and to start contact, but I was still really haven't lifted a weight, and so I was a little bit of cognizant and cautious of what I can and cannot do as far as in the gym. But going through the bumps and bruises this year and taking hits, I feel like there's I could really focus on. There's things that I couldn't do last summer that I've done that has helped my game. So I think I'm able to get to do those things this summer and go from there.
Travis mentioned that he was a little banged up there down the stretch, but he was really proud of how you and him handled those heavy minutes, even though John mentioned that you guys were kind of in that worn down spot.
Yeah.
On your side of things, do you kind of feel the same way, that you guys really pushed through those really tough times?
Yeah, I mean, we were both pretty banged up there, but the situation we were in, and we had defensemen injured, and when you're right there in the playoff hunt, I think you want to just lay it all on the line, and I think we did that. So, kudos to him. He had a pretty serious thing going on there. So we had to battle and grind, but I would say the same thing. Just proud of how we handled that, and not an easy situation when you're playing 25 plus a night. So
Before the game, it got announced that you won the Kelly Lindbergh for most improved player, which gets voted on by your teammates. I guess, was that especially gratifying given the work you put in before the season, during the season, and to get that honor from your teammates, your friends?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like you said, I felt like I put in a lot of work in the off season and spent the majority of my summer here with Dan and Derek, and I think those two are really good at what they do, and allowed me to put myself in a position where I could do that. And I felt like my body held up pretty well for 82 games, playing as much as I did. So I'm happy with that and just want to continue to build and grow my game and continue to get stronger. So.
Cam, how do you feel health-wise going into the off-season? Are you going to need any procedures or anything like that?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm pretty good. Obviously, a little banged up here and there, but for the most part.
There's been
pretty
a lot of
solid.
talk here today about the last month or so of the season, how it was kind of a trial by fire for the young guys. What do you think guys like yourself, or maybe a few of the younger guys, can take from that experience?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely learned a lot. I've been here for, it feels like a pretty long time now and never been in a situation like we were in this year. So to play in meaningful games and obviously, come out of the wrong side of it, you definitely learn a lot and definitely want to do everything you can the next few years to, make sure that doesn't happen again. So not the way we wanted it to end, but I think there's a lot of positives and I mean, this young core is really good and we're going to be really good for a long time. So.
Cam, you had the shoulder injury in February. Was there any thought to sitting out? Was that mostly a pain tolerance thing?
I mean, I probably should have missed a few games. I had a grade 2 AC sprain, and the outdoor game was the next game, and I wasn't going to miss that one. So I don't know. After the Toronto game, I got shot up with something. I'm not sure what it was, but did the job. So
With the Sean being traded, Seals going down, you're banged up, Travis is banged up, Bristow ended up missing the rest of the season. How much adjustment was there on the blue line to guys moving, in and out?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's hard when you have new guys coming in and, the first, 50 games, we had the same core of guys, and I think when you can build chemistry with that group, you can, play some really good hockey, and then when it all of a sudden switches, it can be a big adjustment. But I think the new guys did a great job, like Ronnie and Guinea coming in. That's not easy to do, coming up from the minors and playing in big games. So I think those guys deserve a lot of credit, and obviously Shazi, that's not easy for a D coach to be put in that situation too. So I think a lot of guys stepped up. It's, not an ideal thing, but I think we pretty much made the best out of it. So.
Cam, John Torrell has said, maybe at the beginning of the year he wasn't sure about your game and where you would be. And what do you think clicked for you this year, and how much maybe of a confidence boost was it to hear from that? I think it was around February. He said you were the best defender on the team.
Yeah, I mean, anything he says, I try not to pay too much attention to. In a good way, but I've learned to kind of just ignore it. But it's great. I mean, like I said, I put in a lot of work. I knew I could, do this, and I think for me, I'm gonna continue to just get better and better. And I think I owe a lot to Sandy too for being a great D partner all year and helping me out there. But I mean, for me, I feel like my confidence has always been there, but this year I was put in a situation where I could thrive, and I'm looking forward to next year and continuing to build on what I am all about and what I can do. So I'm really excited.
Was it important for you mentally to focus just getting the defense first? I mean, I remember talking to you a couple months ago, and you said, I always think I've been a good defender, but obviously you had so many points before you turned pro. Was it getting the defense first, and then the offense comes from that?
Yeah, I mean, I think as a young guy, especially with Torch as your coach, you gotta earn his trust, and I want to play as much as possible throughout a game, and I don't think you can do that as a young D if you're not responsible in your own end, and that's just always been an area that I wanted to make sure I had down. And my first couple of years here, we weren't the best, and we were in our D zone a lot, and I think at the time obviously it sucked, but looking back I think that really helped me a lot, kind of grow my D game, and it's it's still a work in progress, and I'm continuing to learn, but I think that's where it starts for me, and then my defense leads into offense and kind of goes from there. So
how big a part of it was you going back to your natural side and Travis adjusting back to playing the right side, what you did before?
Yeah, it was, I think, everything. I wasn't a huge fan of the right side, but played the left side my whole life, and obviously I'm much more used to that and more comfortable. So I think that was a big thing for me, for sure.
Some of the veteran players have said that it's ask this, just as a younger player, this being your first experience, what do you think that's going to look like over the summer for you to just kind of ruminate with everything that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it wasn't the way we wanted it to end for sure. And it's going to, it hurts now, obviously, because we want to still be playing. And we had our sights set on playoffs for a while, it felt like this year. And to not come out of the right side of it, it sucks. But I think for us right now, we got to look at the positives. And, we're building a really strong foundation here, and it's going to be a strong foundation for years to come. So I think just trying to look at the positives is the thing for us. So
Travis mentioned that he trained all summer for being on the left side, and he was told a couple days before training camp that he was being put on the right side.
Yeah.
From you just saying that you didn't like playing on the right side, how do you think that quickly he got into that position and how well he did this year on the right side?
Yeah, it's really impressive. I think the year before he played a little bit on the right, and then he got switched back to the left. So it's not easy to do as a lefty. That's why not many guys in the league do it. So kudos to him for that. It's, I played a lot of games on the right, and it's difficult. So for him to do that in such a short period of time, it's challenging. So he had a great year, and proud of him for how he handled himself after a tough year last year. So he kind of shoved it in everybody's face, and I'm happy for that. So thanks guys.
Cam?
Just, I guess, assess your season for us and how you thought things went this year.
I feel like it's a pretty good season for me, like first season first season in NHL, and I will remember that for my life. We're not making a playoff, it's hurt, but I think biggest thing this year, what I think, we bring winning mentality in the locker room, and we are playing good hockey games against good hockey teams, and I think we play on 100% every night. Yeah, we are lost 8 in a row. I think it just we lost ourselves, but we are bounced back. We never look back. We just try to look forward and work hard as we can. So I think it's pretty good year for us. It's still hurt, but we learn from that.
What did you learn about the stretch run? This was an NHL playoff run where obviously you weren't in the playoffs, but you guys were pushing for the playoffs. The games had meaning. They were big games every night. What did you learn about being able to handle the increased intensity and stakes of those games?
It's when you're in this spot and you're fighting for playoff, you just go to bed with good energy, because you need to take 2 points to win this big game, and you get yourself ready to play best hockey game. I don't know, I think we did full year long. We play good style of hockey, and always still fun to watch when we play good hockey, and sometimes we're losing, sometimes we're winning, but every day boys work hard, and happy to see that.
I remember, and I think it was Arizona, so early November, you were having some struggles, and you said you've watched the film with Brad Shaw, and you were working on things. And have you seen the growth in your game yourself? And
I would say it's first 10 games you playing, and a lot of energy and emotional it's help you, like a first year, like a full year. Next 20 games until game 30-35, you're going up and down, because it's hard league and a lot of good players. But after that, you understand a lot of players who you play against, and you understand how you need to play. Sometimes you need to play fast, sometimes you need to make a play. And I feel like after game 30-35, I start growing and feel more comfortable, and I feel like I start playing faster.
Igor, we always talked about your strength a lot since you've been here. How did you feel physically at a strength standpoint, and do you still want to get bigger?
Yeah, I want to be bigger. It's I will work again in the summer, but I feel I can play better physically, yeah. But I don't feel like I lost everything, you know.
Yeah.
But I can do better.
When you're in and out of the lineup as much as you were, you know, the second half of the season, does that strengthen your resolve? Do you say to yourself, okay, I'm not gonna let this get to me. I'm gonna come back even stronger after you sit for a game or two?
Yeah, I mean, nobody wanna sit, you know. So when I come back, I need to play best my game to stay in the lineup, you know. So it's pretty much for every sportsman, you know, from every hockey player. So I want to be in the lineup every night and help my team to win, bring 2 points. So
You played a lot with Mark Stahl and Eric Johnson, you know, two veteran guys. What were you able to learn from them?
So these guys with big experience in this league, it's fun to play with these guys because sometimes he tell you something funny on the bench after crazy shifts, especially with Stalzy. And I will remember that. I can't tell you what he says, but it's something special, and I will remember these two guys for my life because it's my first year and I play with these people, you know, with big experience, old guys, but you see, still guys playing.
Did they give you like advice?
Yeah, I talked to Stalzy and AJ a lot about hockey. He tried to get me better. He tried to help me make jokes against me. So sometimes it's not easy.
So they kind of kept it loose.
Yes, yeah, but when I talk to these guys, it's a lot of good energy coming to me, and if I have a bad change or like a bad shift, bad game, he come to me and he talk to me. He tell me I have like 120 bad games in my career, so don't worry about this game, worry about next game.
You mentioned about after game 30, 35, you felt like you played faster. How do you feel like you've improved in terms of playing at a higher pace, but also not necessarily taking away from your natural style, which is that calm, controlled style?
I remember we play in Carolina and I have a bad turnover, and Torts tell me before a game, play faster and move puck quicker. And I had bad turnover and his bad mistake by me, and I probably he put me on the bench, and I watch full game on the bench, and I watching and I thinking how I need to play. After next game I try to same play, but I move puck quicker and I have a good play. And you learn from this big mistake and small mistakes, and I feel like you need to play faster against every team because it's a lot of fast skaters, big guys with good sticks, with good IQ. It's not so I feel like I start playing faster and better after game 30, 35.
I remember Provorov once told me that you'll be a top 4 defenseman someday. Is that one of your career goals, to try to become a top 4 defenseman on a team?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody want to be number 1. Number top 4, it's not too bad, but every day you need to be better to get your spot in number 1, you know? So be like a team, work for full year long to be in a playoff spot. It's hurt right now, but we bring, I think, fans back in the rink, back in the Wells Fargo, and we bring winning mentality. It's different feeling last year and this year. Yeah, we are not making a playoff, but we have a winning mentality. We know how to win big clubs, how we can play against Rangers, Colorado, Tampa, wherever.
Does it make it kind of, I know obviously the disappointment of this year, but does it make it even more maybe exciting for next year to come back already?
Yeah, it's still hurt, but I think 1 more month when we go somewhere on a vacation, you take out a little bit hockey, and when you go back to work, you will remember how we play and enjoy how we play with fun, and looking for next season for us.
Despite, not getting into the playoffs, how well, how do you feel like you fit in with this group, maybe both on and off the ice?
I think I learned more and more about it every day. The group's amazing. It really is. And so from day one, not knowing anybody, and I look back at it 82 games later, and it's like, felt like where I belonged. And that starts from the guys in the room, the culture they've built. It's a great group to be a part of. I'm really lucky to be a part of it.
Garnet, you've played for quite a few really good teams at the NHL level, so you have experience in kind of seeing what it takes to be at that level. How close do you think these guys are to reaching that point?
I think closer than we were 82 games ago. I think guys took a lot of strides this year, and I'm sure guys will tell you that, right? And you can see it from the outside. Yeah, guys played well. Maybe they had more points than they did last year, but I think just thinking the game, understanding the league, what it takes, I think guys learned a lot. And you can't quantify that, or you can't see that from the outside, but in that room, there's guys that I think understand better now than they did before. And that's what it takes. And it's going to take guys continuing to learn that, taking the feeling we have now into the summer. I'm sure guys will say that too, but it's real. I've been on a lot of good teams, but I haven't won. And I know those guys that I've played with. How do you be consistently good? It's you take that effort and you continue to grow on it. You take what you had last season and you find ways to build. So you'll look at your own game and you'll say, hey, what do I need to be better? And then you'll go work on it. And in a group like this where the work ethic is already so high, and you see that trust that we have in the locker room, the guys, you see how hard everyone's working. You can trust the guy next to you that they're going to do the same thing. In the summer they're going to put the work in, and we're going to come back even better than we were.
Before the season, many of you guys penciled out already to go through 82 games to come this close. How Travis talked about confidence can get into next season, you know what you come into. How do you translate that, especially going into a summer where you guys can get back right ahead next season?
The confidence is huge. And I think even more you look at that belief. People count you out a lot. You have to take a step back and believe in yourself before you go anywhere. And the things we went through this year, kind of those obstacles, the ups and downs of the season, I think that's what we'll fall back on. We learned that and how to deal with it. And I think we'll keep going from there.
Is that, obviously there was an on-ice aspect to that, right? Learning throughout these tough games and the young group kind of experiencing that together. There was a lot of stuff going on the outside too, whether it was, I don't have to go down the list.
Yeah.
There's a lot of outside noise going on too. Will that also help? Is that also something that, I don't know if it affected the group, but is it also something that they can learn from moving forward?
Yeah, and I think that it's going to happen no matter what. It happens on every team. I think you guys cover us, so you might know it better, but things happen throughout the whole year, that will try and distract you, pull you apart, and it happens to every team. And that's one thing that the good teams, you see those teams that consistently get in the playoffs, they know how to go through that. They know how to go through the ups and downs of the season. You look at teams that, I think you look at losing streaks, right? And you see the really good teams, they shut them down so fast, right? It doesn't gain any traction. And I think that's one thing that we're going to keep learning. And that's the strides that we need to take to get to where we want to be. And I think we have the potential to be.
Brandon, how would you just assess your season and how you fit in with the roster and your game specifically, how it fit in?
I think like a lot of guys, I think I grew throughout the season. Coming in a new system, new group of guys, trying to build my role, and starting on a fourth line that I thought was pretty set through preseason, and I think finding my game a little more and getting a little more responsibility in the defensive zone. And matching lines near the end, I thought I got into the game that I had been playing the past few years, and the kind of game that I think I excel in. So there's parts of my game that I wanna work on, and that's how I'll look at it.
Is there a comfort level because of maybe that Flyer hockey, that Flyer type of hockey, and how you play the game?
I think the whole city, the whole Flyers organization, the history of this team and the Broad Street Bullies and everything, I think it definitely draws comparisons to how I want to play my game. And I see that, and I see that along with the work ethic that came before me and the group and culture that we have. It just motivates you to try and do more. And try and bring more and be consistent every night. And that's one thing that I'm going to keep trying to work on.
Garney, you've played on some teams with pedigree, some established teams. How did the culture and standard here kind of compare to the teams that you've played on in the past?
Oh, that's tough. I think just because it's like, I fall back. It's like apples and oranges, right? Like you can't compare locker rooms, I don't think. Just from either the experiences the guys have already had going in there, the time in the league. But I think to best compare this team to any other team, I see guys wanting to learn and get better and find out what it takes. There's no hesitating. On the ice, there's a ton of skill, a ton of hockey sense, and I think one that you put that with the work ethic that the organization is handpicked to be here. That's a recipe for success.
Along with you, Ryan Pelling's role grew, almost along with yours, and you played together a lot. And you said starting the fourth line and moving up in the lineup later on. How much did your game meshes with Ryan help both of you this season?
Pales is unbelievable. I think he's a great player, and I was really lucky to play with him, fortunate to play with him. And I think we grew together as we talked about things that worked well for us. We have different skills, but I think his speed opens up so much, and I could just see not only is it like how he sees the game continue to grow throughout the year, but his confidence. And I mean, he came in on a 1-year deal, a prove yourself deal, and he did it, right? And that's the kind of guy he is. He's a super hard worker, cares about his teammates, and he's going to go in the summer even hungrier than he did before. So, yeah, I'm really excited for him. I'm really happy for him, and I want to keep playing with him.
Garnett, did you get the sense you mentioned about the Flyers organization, Broad Street Bullies, the way that they historically play versus the way you play, but did you get the feeling that you were being embraced by the fans this season? It seemed like just in terms of your on-ice style of play, always kind of being involved in hits and scrums and whatnot. It didn't seem like there were many players that were getting more cheers than you were.
That's nice. Get that rating. No, I mean the fan base is unbelievable. I don't know how many years I played against you guys, and I was getting probably the most boos before. I think the whole team feels that support. Me personally, coming in for my first year, it doesn't feel like my first year. It feels like I've been here a long time, in a great way, and it's a fan base I hope to keep playing for.
Just how exciting is it for next year, with everything that's gone on this year and how the team, walked into the season with, not the expectations weren't very high, and just how exciting is it for next season to come already?
It's a tricky question, Jackie. Just because I think guys right now wanted more than we ended up with. And so guys are how competitive we are, and I think how much that locker room cares. Guys are excited knowing just how much hard work it's going to take, and which seems wild a little bit, but that's the kind of group that this is. I think guys should, not hop in the gym right away. But I know once they are, they're going to go, kind of full throttle into it. And that's the exciting part. I think no one's looking forward to the skate test, but we're looking forward to getting back here. And like you said before, it's starting off on the right foot, and understanding what that takes, and knowing there's going to be ups and downs, but the faster you start playing your game, the better off you're going to be.
Will you take a break from the gym?
I don't know.
Jamie, when you first got here, you said that your head was kind of in a blender just with how fast everything happened. It's been a whirlwind season since then. Did your head ever kind of leave that blender, or was it just like one thing after the other for you?
Yeah, I'd say it was kind of a little bit of both. Not an ideal kind of, I guess, situation that I was dealing with. Nothing to do with the trade, just kind of being a little banged up, being in and out, not really being able to find that consistency in playing games. So that's never ideal, but yeah, no, I'm just looking forward to coming back to and hopefully a full healthy year and kind of getting my just showing what I can do in a full year.
Jamie, when the Flyers traded for you, we talked to you the first time. We asked about your health, and you more or less said that I can manage it.
Mhm.
Were you battling injury pretty much all year?
No excuses, but everyone deals with stuff, so just gonna work this off season to try and make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Is there anything you're going to need to get cleaned up, or is that still unclear?
Potentially.
When you came here, there was a lot of talk about switching from a man-to-man system to zone. Where do you think you were at by the end of the year? Obviously interrupted by injury.
Yeah.
But did you feel like you were starting to get it down a little bit?
To be honest, I thought I was pretty hot and cold, pretty inconsistent, and I think it doesn't help being in and out of the lineup. Like I said, just kind of not being. It was a little bit tougher to find my rhythm and just play a consistent stretch of games. I'm just looking forward to a full year next year.
This team's power play really struggled throughout the course of the year, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like you were getting more comfortable in the power play before you got hurt. Did you feel like it was starting to come around, and then you get hurt? It kind of.
Yeah, obviously that situation wasn't ideal. We would have liked to perform better. I think everyone can agree on that. So, I think us as a whole just had to be better, and kind of no secret there. So, just kind of leave it at that.
Did you feel like you were starting to get more comfortable in the power play as the season went on?
Yeah, I think the more reps you get, the more consistency you get with it, the more comfortable you get. And I think that there wasn't much of that there on my end.
You mentioned about the trade not being that much of a kind of like impactful thing, a lot of things going off the ice, but when you get traded like that in the middle of the season, especially not at a point where it seems like all trades happen,
Mhm.
and then for how it went down and who it was for, does it kind of put in your mind a little bit that, did you have any sense that it's like, okay, these guys now believe in me more than a team like that, or was it just that you were in that motion of getting dealt basically so young in the NHL?
Yeah, it was, like I said, kind of when I got here, it was a whirlwind. It's definitely real unexpected, and I think it got a lot of traction, for lack of better words. So, I just try to push that aside, to be honest. I'm with a new team. It's treated me unbelievably. since I've been here and everything like that. So it's a great group, and I'm real excited to be here. And like I just said, looking forward to a good, healthy next few years.
Jamie, it's pretty clear that the Flyers think very highly of your long-term potential and the kind of player you can become down the road. It's also clear that they think you need a lot of work to get there. It seems like they're hoping that when you work with Torts and Bradshaw especially, that can get you to that point. How would you describe your relationship, especially with Bradshaw, and what do you think you can build on with that for next year and beyond?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely been a tough couple of years for me, just to begin with. Just being out a lot. But Shazzy's been unbelievable since the moment I got here. He's a pretty wild hockey mind. And just the little details that, he tells, and he kind of tells you, whether it's in video or just during the game, little things to look out for that I've, never heard in my life. Just little things here and there that I think can, over time, make a big difference in consistency and being a better player overall. So, I really hope I can work with him for a while.
When you come to a new city,
In regards to the power play, I'm just curious, you're a pretty creative guy. Are you guys given free rein to be creative on the power play, or is it very structured in terms of the 1-3-1 and staying within that formation?
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely have rein to make plays within structure. I mean, there's no really excuse on the players' end. We just have to be better, and that's kind of it. There's no one to blame but ourselves. We're given the information on what to expect and whatnot, and we just have to be better. There's no one really to kind of point at other than the people that are on it.
when you come to a new city, there's obviously the on-ice piece of it, but there's also the piece that's in the rooms, settling in, to an everyday routine. How quickly did you start feeling comfortable in the room and with the guys?
Honestly, pretty quick. Like I said, it's an unbelievable group of guys, and I knew a handful of guys when I got here from prior experiences and stuff like that. So, the group's awesome. Have been since day one, and I feel pretty comfortable here, and I'm looking forward to continuing on.
Are you confident you'll be 100% for training camp?
Yeah.
Thanks, Jake.
Thanks, Jake.
It's kind of a big thing this year from you guys going into the season where many people had you guys penciled out from the beginning. How does this transform into the next season? What you guys just went through, how close you did get this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at, what everyone said about us before the year and where they thought we were going to be. And, I think we just used it as fuel the whole year just to prove people wrong. I mean, I think we had a lot of guys that, whether coming off injury or, coming off a down year, and had a lot to prove. And, I think we banded together and, proved to the league that we're a really good team now. And, obviously it's unfortunate that we missed the playoffs, but, I think just building on how good of a season we had and how many good stretches we had, it's definitely gives us a lot of confidence heading into the next year. And I think we kind of set a standard the last 2 years on how we need to play to win in this league. And I think we feel really confident about our team game and playing Flyers hockey.
Joel, you finished with career highs in goals, assists, and points, but basically after the All-Star break, the production kind of dried up. What do you, from your perspective, think happened?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I think any year after the All-Star break, the games get a lot harder, and teams are fighting for playoff spots, so the game changes a bit. And I think my role on the team too, where I was playing, I think I'm one of those guys that can play up and down the lineup for sure. And I think when you're playing, third and fourth line, sometimes you have to give up some of the offense to focus on the defensive game and focus on the D side of things. So. For me, whatever role I was given, I tried to do that to my best ability, and I wish I could have produced a lot more and helped the team in that aspect. But like I said, it's the games get really hard after the All-Star break, and teams tighten up defensively, and I think there's a lot of recognition with how teams play and certain guys and things like that. So definitely would have personally would have, liked to help a lot more and produce more, but, it's, the past is the past, and, it sucks, and I take a lot of, responsibility for a lot of that stuff, and, I definitely, need to be a lot better.
What was that frustrating for you a little bit, playing maybe down in the lineup late in the year as opposed to earlier?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I personally would love to play as much as I can, but like I said, whatever role I'm given that night, I try to just do to the best of my ability.
Joel, you've been around this group of young guys for a number of years now. What has the growth been like for that group specifically this season, just going through everything that you guys have had to push through?
Yeah, I think a lot of the young guys made, huge strides. I think, I could go down the list of, basically all the rookies. I think, got a lot better. Seen a lot of guys take a lot of, big strides. Tyson, Yorkie, Bobby, just to name a few, guys that just really came in, some of them, trying to make the team to start, and then once they did, they just, took off from there. So it's definitely exciting to see, from such young guys, how good they played, and, they're huge parts of this team going forward. So, I think it's great to see, and it's great to see.
In 2022, you were obviously dealing with the neck injury in the offseason. Having that healthy offseason this year, how much do you think that impacted your year?
Yeah, 100%. I felt, probably the best I've ever felt heading into a season. I've, spent every summer here since I've got drafted. So just, being familiar with Dan and Derek in the gym and things like that has been really good for me. And I feel like I really pushed myself really hard this past summer. And, I feel like right when the season started, I felt, super strong and really good. So probably plan to do a lot of the same this summer. So just keep going from there. Obviously, Dan and Derek are really, really important, and they help me out a ton with just, diet stuff, obviously in the gym, but, away from the ring stuff too. So it's cool, and, they mean a lot to me.
There was a lot of noise around this team pretty much over the second half. If you go back to, the trade with Gauthier, the deal with Carter, some other stuff, the trade deadline, all that. How do you feel the team handled a lot of the outside noise? And did the team maybe learn something about itself, that you have to tune out a lot of the outside stuff and just focus on what you can focus on?
Yeah, 100%. Kind of just like you said, I think, we obviously can't control a lot of the stuff that happens, and, obviously with media or whatever it is, I think, as a pro, you just have to come in and, it's, business, and, I think the group handled it really well. Obviously, like you said, there's a lot of stuff going on, and, I think we all kind of just stuck together, and I think, we did that the whole year. We just kind of, stayed as a group, and, when you're playing for each other, I think, it shows out there, and, I feel like I'm really proud of the group for how we handled a lot of stuff.
Joel, a few weeks ago, when you guys were kind of in the heart of that 8-game losing streak, you had said about how, we know we're a good team, we know what we've done. It almost seemed like you were saying that because maybe you were worried that the team maybe was forgetting during that run. Did you think that might have played into the losing streak, that maybe some doubts started to creep in when the losses started piling up?
No, I don't think we ever had doubts. I think, the whole year, I think we knew how good of a team we were. I just think sometimes when you lose a few games in a row, it some of the, bounces that go in, they're really tough. And I think you saw when we're on some of our winning streaks, like sometimes you just get a bounce that goes in, and, you're up early in a game, and things like that happen, obviously, throughout a whole year. But I don't think for one second we ever doubted how good of a team we are. You look at, even the last, month, we played some of the best teams. We beat some of the best teams, and we played, to really close games, whether, so, I think, I don't think for one second we ever doubted that we were, not good enough.
Joe, when you look at the power play this year, there's stretches, or even overall, little pieces of it, showed improvement. Entries, for example. But obviously the big picture stuff wasn't there. How frustrating was that for you guys?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely sucks. Especially being on the power play, it's really frustrating. Being last the last 2 years, or I think the really good teams in the league can steal games just on power play alone. So it's definitely something that we focus on. We try to get better, and we try to improve. And I think the guys in the room, we talk about it all the time, of just trying to get better and trying to get more chances. And obviously it's not easy, and You know, I think something in the off season we just, you know, it's definitely got to be a focus. And you know, if we can just, you know, even just get into the top 15 in the league, I think it would, you know, I think we could potentially be in the playoffs. So, you know, I take a lot of blame for that as well, just being a power play guy. So, definitely something we need to work on. And you know, I think, you know, the guys really care in the room about it, and you know, it's something we're going to focus on.
Joel, what do you think, taking from this year, what do you think you can do moving forward? What do you think you maybe can improve on next year with your game personally?
Yeah, for me, I think just, you know, holding on to more pucks down low, and obviously I think, you know, a lot of my game, you know, can use work and things like that, but something I've, you know, really focused on the last few summers is just down low play, you know, being able to skate away from checks and things like that. You know, I feel like when I'm at the top of my game, it's when I'm, you know, holding on to pucks and creating chances and, you know, not getting rid of it. So, you know, obviously I think I could name off probably 15 things I'd love to work on, but, you know, that just comes to the top of my head.
Joel, you talked about kind of moving up and down the lineup, and obviously everyone can do that sometimes. The Sean Couturier, even the most tenured player, got bumped down the lineup. But do you feel like your next step is maybe solidifying a spot in the top 6?
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I think, you know, one of the things that I pride myself on is being able to play, you know, many different spots and things like that. But obviously, personally, you know, I'd love to be, you know, solidified in the top 6 and play as much as I can. But at the end of the day, it's a long season, and, you know, things change, and, you know, guys are playing well certain times. So, you know, it's not something that I need to lock into one spot or anything like that. I just, you know, kind of like I said earlier, whatever role I'm given that night, I really just try to do to the best of my ability.
Mark, how much did you see this team grow from the beginning of the season to the end?
Yeah, I mean, we were good right from the start when I got here, you know. So I wasn't here last year, the season before. So yeah, when I got here, I mean, before I got here, I knew the talent that was in the lineup, and I believe that they were better than everyone was projecting them to be, and it was pretty apparent that was the case when I got here. And how hard we worked this year, and the commitment that they showed, you know, put us in a position to be able to get in the playoffs. So it's an exciting team for sure.
Mark, when you signed, and you know, you said you had a conversation with Torts that you might not necessarily play in every game, that they were going to prioritize the kids, but there's one thing to have the conversation, there's another thing to live it. I guess how tough was that to, you know, kind of accept that you weren't going to be in the lineup every night, especially down the stretch?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely challenging, something that I haven't ever dealt with in my career. So from that standpoint, it was a lot different. I mean, yeah, I would love to have played more games, and you know, especially the last month here to be able to get in and help. But no, I don't have any regrets coming here. I really enjoyed myself. Great bunch of guys I got to meet, and a good organization. So, I mean, yeah, obviously, like I said, I'd love to have been in more games and help on the ice. But you know, it doesn't always work out the way you want it to. But I mean, I still had a lot of fun, and still a good year.
You've obviously seen a lot in your career. Just from your perspective, why was it such a struggle for the last 3-4 weeks for this team?
I don't know. I think through the stretch where we were 6 or 7 in a row we lost or weren't able to get points. I think we had some games where we played really well and we didn't win, and then that kind of snowballed into just losing our confidence a little bit in closing out a game or getting a win. And at that time of year, it's the hardest time of year to get wins. And so when you're going through that as a team, it's tough to get your footing back. And we found it just a little bit too late. And you know, you get 1 or 2 wins in that little stretch there, and we're having a different conversation. Not right now. So, but that's something that these guys will learn from for sure. They've now been through a push like this knowing how hard it is to win the last month of the season, how important it is to keep winning because every other team is going to keep winning to get in. So I think it's going to be huge for these guys to have experienced that and you know, when they're in that situation again, handle it better.
Mark, you were on a one-year deal. I'm just curious, personally, where do you stand and maybe coming back next year or playing again too?
Yeah, I haven't thought really too much about it yet. I'm going to go home, spend some time with my family. I've been away from them quite a bit this year, so I'm looking forward to that. And when we get into the summer, we have some conversations and see what's what. But yeah, I'm not really sure yet.
You mentioned this is a little bit of a younger team from day one to day 82. Do you see progress in these guys of how well they transitioned through the season, especially being where they were, what they were expected to do, and how they acted to it?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, all these guys showed a tremendous amount of confidence all year long. I think everyone played really confidently, really well. They started to believe in each other that every guy in that room is good enough to be able to compete in this league every night, and showed that pretty consistently all year long. So, yes, I mean they're young, but I mean they have some good leadership in that room, and some veteran guys and some good young players. I mean it's future's definitely bright for these guys for sure.
As someone who's been a penalty killer pretty much your whole career, how hard is it for a team to sustain for 5+ months the way that the Flyers, the PK was remarkably consistent till a little bit dipped towards the end?
Yeah. I mean, it was a massive part of us winning games. I mean, I think our PK was perfect most nights, and it gave us a chance to win on pretty much every single night. So, yeah, it was in one of the best penalty kill groups probably I've been a part of. Just as the shorthanded goals we get, we were dangerous, killed a lot off. We had great goaltending, and all those things add up into a great penalty kill. So, yeah, I mean it's takes a lot of commitment. I mean, we have a lot of guys that eat shots too. Like guys just or sacrifice themselves, and that's part of having a great penalty kill. And we had guys willing to do that all year long, and yeah, it's big.
One more. Sorry. Sorry. You worked with John Tortorella obviously a lot over the course of your career. I'm just curious how you see him this year, maybe compared to your years with the Rangers.
Well, I mean, he's changed a bit. I would say. I mean, I think the core of himself has never changed in the way he approaches the game and the way he teaches the game and the intensity he coaches with. That hasn't changed. I think there's certain things that maybe did in New York that he doesn't do now, but I mean, for the most part, same guy, same coach, and he pushes the guys to try to get the most of them every night. And I think with what we've done this year and the consistency that we played with, he's a big part of that for sure.
Morgan, we've talked a lot about growth this season, how individual players have changed from day one to now. You probably have gone through that more than anyone. What did that teach you about yourself and your game and your character as a professional?
I'd say I feel like I matured a lot, I think, especially obviously going through some hard times at the start of the season and kind of coming out of it. And, I think just in general in my time here from the first year I've been here to now, I think definitely grown up a lot, and I've learned how to handle situations better. And I think in general from the start of the year, I think good amount of growth for me.
Morgan, last night Tortorella really shortened the bench, and you were one of the guys that had to stomach the bad part of it. Was that a pretty frustrating way to go out? Would you have liked to been out there and given a shot to try to score a goal there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to be out there. I think, especially in a game like that, important game, it's pretty devastating, to not play. But at the same time, I have a lot of respect for Torts, and I think he's a great coach. So if he felt that's what he needed to do to try and win that game, then I understand it, and I think those last couple games I could have played a little bit better. So I think there was a lot of guys that were playing good, and I thought they were working hard and doing a lot of good things last night. So it's easy to say right now that unhappy about it, but at the same time that wasn't what was important in that game anyway. So just wanted to get the win, and I was happy to cheer on my teammates.
It looked like even when there were some tough stretches this season, maybe unlike the past, there was no loss of confidence. Like last night, you tried up between the legs kind of play. Do you think that's one of the areas you've grown, just being able to kind of even keel it through some of the tougher times?
It's definitely gotten better. I think still some times where maybe I'm lacking a little bit, and I think that can kind of show up in my play sometimes. So I think I'd like to be more consistent with that, and just more consistent with my play in general. I think you're never going to play good for 82 games in a season, all 82, but I think there was a couple stretches this year where I felt like I wasn't really doing too much out there. So that's something that obviously want to focus on and work on, and it's something I'll be thinking about going into the off season.
Late in the season, took a maintenance day, morning skate yesterday. Physically, were you fine?
Yes. Yeah, I was actually I was really good. I think that's probably the best season I've had in terms of health. No complaints there. I was feeling good. I think I think in general for our team, I think kind of towards the end there where the pressure started to build, I think maybe a little bit of mental fatigue kicked in, and obviously there was a bunch of guys grinding through whatever they were feeling, but I think for me personally, I felt pretty good.
Morgan, it seemed like from the outside that the second half of the year that you and Torts kind of came to a strong understanding as you had the meeting in early January. You started scoring significantly more. You were getting more ice time. The way that last night played out, does that worry you at all that some of the progress you made with him might have kind of got rewound a little bit?
I mean, if you're basing it off, kind of one game, I don't think so, no. So, I mean, I'd like to think not. I think I've grown a lot in terms of, learning how to handle things with him and interact. So, I mean, still something that, I think there's going to be some more going on there, but at the same time, no, I don't think so. I think, like I said, kind of grew there. So.
Follow up on that a little bit. You were one of those guys that it seemed like every single time he wanted to change something, you were coming out of the lineup. And then it kind of got a little bit better there after that meeting. Did it kind of test your mental fatigue just a little bit this year? How often it was always seemed to be you were the one that was coming out of the lineup?
No, not really. I think maybe it's sometimes, but I think as I kind of referred to earlier, I think I've grown up a lot. So I've learned how to handle those situations, and obviously they're never easy. You want to play every game, but at the same time, I think there was times where I wasn't playing up to the standard that I should have been, and the standard that he was going to hold me to, and that I hold myself to. So I understand it; it's part of it, and like I said, something that I'll work on is trying to be more consistent so that doesn't happen.
Some of the things you talked about working on coming into the season, power play entries, tipping some more pucks, those kind of things. It looked like worked a little bit more into your game. What would you like to work on, in the summer heading into next year?
I think it's something I probably said last year too. I think trying to shoot the puck more, and obviously, kind of dipped a little bit in goals compared to last year. So I'm not sure what my chances, chance type thing would have looked like, but definitely like to shoot more and shoot a little harder. So that's something, and then probably being able to protect the puck a little bit better below the other team's goal line.
The power play obviously had its struggles this year. What do you maybe think went wrong with it, and what can maybe be done next year to help spark it?
Yeah, it's tough to pinpoint it. I know obviously a lot of the fans are frustrated with that, and you know, we're just as frustrated. You know, we're trying our best, trying different things, trying to work hard at it. I think sometimes maybe when you force the issue and lose your confidence in it a little bit, it's tough to fully get it back. So I think, you know, it's obviously something that needs to be worked on, and yeah, I think I take a fair amount of responsibility for that. I played on the power play for almost the whole year, so you know, I think just got to figure it out, keep working at it, and you know, hopefully once it clicks, it can stay for a long time.
Thanks, Rory.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
See you guys.
See you.
When you look back on the second half, obviously your trade partner gets dealt on March 8th or whatever it was. How much of a monkey wrench did that sort of throw into what you guys are doing as a defense group for the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, anytime you know, you have a guy like that get traded, it's obviously going to impact your back end, and you know, Walks was a big part of our group here, and a big reason for the success we had, and but you know, Danny obviously you know, made this decision because we're, you know, in a rebuild, and he thought that was the best for the team, and you know, you need to trust in that, and but it doesn't mean that it didn't you know, obviously affect the back end, and obviously we play together the whole year, but you know, that's part of the business that we're in, and obviously we missed him as a group, but next man up mentality, and you know, I thought the young guys did a really good job, you know, coming up and stepping up for us when we had some injuries on the back end, and obviously the trade at deadline, and so there's positives there.
Your journey over the last few years, signing here originally on a two-way contract, another two-way contract, to having those deadline rumors yourself, to now finding a long-standing home. What does that mean to you now that you've kind of set yourself on this team for the next few years and where they're building to get to?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything to me. Obviously, I've been you know, just fighting for that contract my whole career, and you know, it's life changing. It means the world to me to be in a place where you know, I feel respected, and you know, the direction this group's going. It's so excited to be a part of it, and you know, to get that contract extension this year, it meant the world to me.
Nick, are you, you know, it's obviously only 1 day since the end of the season. Are you able to look at the perspective now, hey, it went down to game 82, or is it still the disappointment still too fresh?
Yeah, it's a little fresh right now. Obviously, it's disappointing how things played out this, you know, at the end of the year, but you know, I'm sure when a few weeks go by and we'll look back on the season, and you know, game 82 was an important one. It's important for this group to go through what we did, and especially for the young guys, and knowing that, you know, every game is important, and you know, think about how tight it was in this race, and you know, in hindsight, you win a game here, win a game there, get 1 point, and you're in the playoffs. So I think it's important for the group as a whole, and especially the young guys to play in these important games, and I thought we did a really nice job bouncing back from that tough one in Montreal, and it kind of showed, you know, that we had no quit and resiliency that, you know, we've kind of shown all year.
It's early, obviously, but does it almost make it exciting for the future and for next year at this point?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited where this group's going, and so happy to be a part of it, and you know, just think of the strides that you know, a ton of guys on our team took this year. I mean, obviously the young guys, the young forward group, but look, guys like Yorkie. I mean, he had a heck of a year, and just proud of him for how he handled himself. He played like a lot older guy than he is. I mean, what is he, 23 years old? He's playing top minutes. He's blocking shots and playing big minutes for us. And you know, guys like Tice and Tippy and you know, obviously I can go down the list, but it's just we have a lot to look forward to in this group, and direction that Danny and Jonesy are bringing us in. And oh, sorry.
I thought you were done.
No. I was almost done, Charlie. Yeah, that's all right. But no, I'm extremely excited for it. Yeah.
Nick, obviously had the ill-timed injury right at the start of March. I'm sure you were itching to get back, but I guess now that the season's over, just how banged up was this team by the end? That was something people theorized given the losing streak and just how hard some of the guys had to be ridden given the limitations of the roster.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think with any team, there's going to be, at this time of year, it's going to be banged up and fighting through stuff, and especially our top guys. I think, obviously Sandy and Yorkie are playing a ton of minutes, but they played really, really well with those minutes, and it's tough to sit here and say, yeah, we're banged up, but everyone's banged up. It's something that you have to work through mentally and just be able to push through those physical ailments or whatever you're going through and the best you can and go out there and do your job. And I thought, like I said, the last 3 games we really came together as a group and played well.
Do you think your pair with Jamie Drysdale can be something to work on, Nick, in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously we had that tough one in Montreal, but I thought we played well together. The 3 games after that, and just kind of started trusting each other a little bit more. I think as we play together more and more, I think the reads and staying connected is going to be better and better. Obviously, I was with Walks and for that whole most of the year, and you really didn't have to say much. We just kind of knew where each other were going to be, and that's nice. That's what I'm hoping me and Jamie can get to, is where we just know where we're going to be at on the ice, and obviously he's a heck of a player, and he's has the ability to skate up the ice and move the puck really well, and I think we'll mesh well here.
Right now, how do you kind of balance being proud of the big picture? You guys took a lot of strides, but also kind of falling short here at the end.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the experience, being in the playoffs for as long as we were, and then kind of the race towards the end was, I think, definitely a good experience for us to have and kind of know what it takes and how hard it is, but kind of to have 2 weeks like we did and kind of fall out of it, and then kind of have a couple more good efforts to kind of have a chance. Obviously kind of a lot to process, but definitely a good experience for this group, and for us to want to get back there, kind of know what it takes, and kind of have that hunger to finish it out and get in kind of for the future here.
You came into this season with kind of a focus on trying to improve your offensive game. For most of the year, that really wasn't there. Then in the stretch run, it kind of all came back. What clicked, if anything, for you over that run, or were the pucks just going in?
Yeah, I think just confidence. I think, obviously, can come from a goal or whatnot, but I think at the end of the day, it kind of comes from, the little things that, kind of my game is built on, whether it's, being physical or a good stick, getting in on the forecheck, just those little things that, help you find your game, and then, one goes in, and then you kind of feel like, you can't miss or whatever it is. So, you kind of think it's going to be a goal or whatever, but I think at the end of the day, you kind of got to get back to your game and your kind of things that get you going, and at the end of the day, for me, that's playing hard and being hard to play against, good stick detail, and just kind of being kind of all over the ice and forechecking and being hard to play against.
Do you think then that your game, that it was maybe a mistake to start out the year, focus a little bit more on offense, that you lost some of what makes you an effective player for a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of an identity crisis, wanting to be offensive and build off a good year last year. I think I needed to build off of it, even more defensively than offensively. So I think it was a great learning experience this year for me, for the team, kind of where we were at, but you can't stray too far from what you are. Obviously, I want to build on myself offensively, but at the end of the day, defense leads the offense, and kind of for me personally, that's especially true. So just kind of an identity crisis, and then some confidence stuff and some injuries. So definitely just a year I'll look back on, and I think will help propel me to even higher levels, just because of what I went through.
You played center, you played wing this year. Is there one maybe position you prefer now
Not really. I think, the needs and, lineup, everything changes so much in this league and, from day-to-day stuff. So I think it's good that I, can play either position and feel comfortable in either spot. So I think it's, good that I feel comfortable and can kind of play anywhere. So I wouldn't pick or choose either one. So I'll, kind of work the summer on a little bit of both and, go from there and see where we're at in camp when that kind of comes around.
This year was your first opportunity to play Ryan Paling and Garnet Hathaway. What'd you learn from those guys?
Obviously really, really special people. I think, we took a lot of strides in the locker room because of guys like them. So kudos to them for, stepping in and off the ice more than anything, honestly. But playing with them was amazing. Like we kind of said, defense first, and that kind of got us going offensively. And just puck support, talking hockey and, getting some chemistry was really important for me. I think that's kind of what got my game going again, was playing with those guys. So I owe those guys a lot, and it was really, really fun playing with them. And but more importantly, honestly, having them off the ice and in the locker room was huge. So, but I thought we were super good, just staying close and connected in the offensive zone and, protecting pucks and just supporting each other all over the ice.
When I obviously started this year, you were in a pretty big year for yourself as a whole to get the contract extension and sign here for the next 8 years. What is that? What did you see this year that made you confident that that was something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, I think ever since I came over, obviously coming over in a contract year in that trade and, getting a feel for it the year after and just seeing how great of a city it is, sports city, fans are awesome and just all the history and with the organization and, obviously going into those contract talks, it was pretty special and, being able to do it for 8 years is something that, I was really looking forward to and it was an easy decision to go long term.
We've always talked to you, Owen, about you came in the Claude Giroux trade. There was a lot of pressure there. What was there real pressure there, and are you pretty proud of that, how you handled it and kind of established yourself here?
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of pressure just, coming in for a guy that has been here for so long and captain and, I think there is a bit of pressure, but at the same time, it's, 2 different stages of a career. I think, especially me just trying to find my way and still being young and coming into the league and trying to find my way. I think it was a little bit different and helped me kind of not focus on the pressure as much. But, I think anytime you come in, you want to make a good first impression and, get off on the right foot. So I'm definitely happy with how things went. And, like I said, really excited to continue here.
You guys are obviously in such a good playoff position for so long. What was your opinion on the 8-game losing streak where it sort of came apart a little bit, and what did you learn as a young player going through that?
Yeah, I think, it didn't go unnoticed in the room, and we can all kind of learn from it and take that going into next year. But, I think that's all part of learning, and, I think everyone's going to say it. I don't think anybody had us in the position we were in, even coming down to the last game last night. And, it's all stuff that we have to learn, and that's how you get better as you go through times like that. And obviously, like you said, that 8-game stretch didn't help us, but it's another opportunity to learn and come back next year and know that feeling. So.
Owen, how would you assess your game this year, and maybe what do you hope to work on for next year?
Yeah, I thought even compared to last year, I took strides and being more confident and more consistent and. Obviously there's always stuff to work on, and for me it's just continuing to round out that game and be consistent and be a big part of this going forward. Obviously I love the group we have here, and it's a special group to be a part of, so for me it's just doing the best I can and making sure I make the changes and improvements I need to help this team win.
Now, when you just mentioned about the group, you haven't been the first guy today to mention how strong the group is, how tight the guys are, but I guess how important, for you has it been to be able to come into a room like this and make friends and feel welcomed, and how important has that been, in terms of your on-ice success as well?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, I've been on teams in the past where,
maybe you don't have that close a group, or it can separate it during hard times. But we stick together through everything, and it definitely helps with the confidence going into a game, knowing that the guy next to you has the same goal, and we all love playing for each other and playing with each other. So it makes it a lot more fun to come to the rink every day when you have a group like that. And there's memories that were made this year through our team that's going to last forever. And I think each guy in the room will say the same thing, that just the way we kind of bonded and stuck together through everything this year has kind of put us ahead of schedule, I think, in terms of where we wanted to be. And I think you could tell last night that that's not the way we wanted to end, but we're all looking forward to being together again next year. So.
Owen, the power play obviously had its struggles this year. I guess what do you think caused caused the struggles, and maybe what can be done in the future to maybe try and get it to click a little bit more?
Yeah, I think I've said it before. It's just repetition. I feel like I think earlier or midway through the year we kind of had it going there for a little bit with some chemistry and stuff, and there's, like I said, there's just always stuff to work on, and we know in the room that guys that are on it can be better and have more of an impact, and obviously it's a focal point for some of us next year, I think, and just doing what we can.
What was, obviously it's a pretty young core group here, and there was a lot of talk about going through these meaningful games together where your lives are on the line. What do you think, what did you learn, and what do you think the group can take out of that experience?
I think we have a lot to be proud of. Like you said, a lot of teams counted us out early before the season even started, and even throughout the season, they're not going to do this, that. And like you said, we're young too, so I think there's a lot to be proud of, but we're not where we want to be overall. So I think that's the good thing, is we have a good foundation, but we still have a lot of growth to do. And having those young guys and just the group that we have, I think, makes it possible to make the next jump higher next year.
A couple of guys said that they admired the fact that you gambled you bet on yourself, so to speak, with your contract situation, and they kind of look up to you. And these are younger guys, but talk about that a little bit. That what was the genesis of betting on yourself and only taking the 1 year at the beginning?
Yeah, no, I think everything happened so quick. I thought Pittsburgh was going to qualify me throughout that whole process, and then the day before free agency, they called me and said they weren't. But so then it's just like, whoa. And so a lot of teams called, and I had to make a decision. But I think for myself, just trusting my gut, and I've been a big man of faith, and I trust God. So for myself, I just thought, you know what, like, this has a lot of opportunity here, and I feel like in my gut it's telling me to come to Philadelphia. And for me, it's pretty easy if you just work hard and have a good attitude and let the chips fall as they may. Maybe it goes your way, maybe it doesn't, but I think for me, just trusting God's plan makes it a lot easier on myself, and I think that helped me a lot throughout this year.
Does it feel like, I know obviously this year you guys didn't get to where necessarily you wanted to go, but does it feel like you're part of something that's building, something special, in terms of the guys? Everybody talks about the closest of the room, the young players and whatnot.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's, throughout my career, that's all I've ever wanted, is to be part of something. In high school, growing up, I always played for the same high school team, and I think you grow with those guys, and we ended up my last year being there winning the championship, and I think that means so much more, right? Like you start where it didn't start so great, and you're building just something special. And I've always wanted that at the pro level, and I feel like I have that opportunity here. And it's, year one, and it's already been so much fun just throughout the season, I guess.
How do you balance kind of processing everything that kind of went wrong this season, but also letting yourself be excited about what you can build on for next season?
Yeah, I think, throughout the whole year we were in a playoff spot, right? So that's the thing, is like, as good of the year it was, there's so much room for growth in the sense where, we lost eight in a row, And so those are things that, young teams, and it wasn't like we weren't playing great and like the room wasn't bad, this and that. It's just for whatever reason it happened, right? So I think even with how the season went, there's still improvement that we could have had even this year. And so that's exciting, where sometimes you're still not playing, I guess, to your standard at this year, and I think next year with the growth that we have with this team, we'll make it even better.
When the season started, you were on the fourth line, and there was not a little uncertainty about your game, and you've obviously moved up in the lineup and gotten more responsibilities as the season has worn on. Like, how does that help with your confidence maybe going into next year? And do you change maybe training because your game has maybe shifted a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's, I mean, confidence for sure. I think I've always believed in myself, but I mean, in this sport, you need others to believe in you too. I mean, right? I've played in Montreal, played in Pittsburgh, and now here. And I mean, I got to give credit to Jonesy and Danny for bringing me in, and then Torts for giving me that opportunity. So just having that hard work and attitude that, you know what, whatever happens and comes your way, you're gonna take on. So, and then transferring to summertime where, I mean, this is the first season where I played fully where I didn't get an injury. So I think that alone is a big step for me. And then also just learning how to maintain energy, strength, all those things, playing so many more minutes, I think is a big thing that I'm going to try to focus on this year, just so I can maintain that throughout a full 80 game season.
What was it like for you during the season when, you know, you walk in the locker room maybe that first time and you see yourself on that third line or
Yeah.
the fourth line, and the relationship also you build with Hathaway?
Yeah, no, you know, you're excited. You know, you want to do as much as you can to help the team win, and so playing more minutes obviously equates to that. But no, I was actually talking with Garney last night about that, how we just, both of us, you know, we started the year where we were and ended it how we did. I think told him I was proud of him, and I love playing with him. You know, he's a guy that's always going to have your back, and he's enjoyable to play with. I mean, we started on the PK and just kind of worked our way up, and so that relationship's been great, and he's helped me out a lot, and I think I've helped him out a lot, so it was a ton of fun.
It seemed like in the second half of the year in particular, you kind of became a guy that Torts would look to, you know, in big situations. You were getting more minutes, you were getting late game situations and whatnot. He obviously has a reputation around the league. Everybody knows he's a tough guy to play for. He pushes his guys hard. Did you expect going into the year that you might end up kind of being one of his maybe favorites on the team?
I don't know about that. I knew that, yeah, I knew that I'm just hearing stories about other guys. Obviously, I played with like Josh Anderson, guys like that who played with Torts, and they loved him. And I know that Andy, he plays a hard game, and he told me Torts is hard, but he's fair, and that's all you ask for out of a coach. So knowing that, I just knew that just being myself, I guess, and working hard and showing them that you care, I think is the biggest thing. And then, yeah, obviously I got rewarded for it, which is good.
When we were in Montreal, you mentioned how, you know, that first game that you had the hat trick, and it was like maybe a blessing or a curse, not a, you know,
Yeah.
thing. And do you feel more solidified with yourself and your career now with everything from where you were maybe that first game to now?
100%, yeah. I think, I mean, as a young kid, 19 years old, I've always, I mean, you could probably ask all of us, we're all best player on your team. You know, you're playing all the time, this and that, and so you never really have any real adversity. And so playing that first game and then having a full summer where I'm thinking, oh, I'm just going to go in and do the same stuff, it's a big shock for me to get sent down to the AHL. And I mean, as a 19-year-old in a different country, first time really like moving away from home, it was definitely tough on me. But I think in retrospect, I took a lot from it, and I think it made me the player I am today. I learned so many little things that I don't think if that didn't happen to me, I wouldn't be the player I am today, and I probably wouldn't even be in the league. So, I mean, at the time it sucked, but I think it's helped me out a lot, and I actually appreciate what happened to me.
Both Cam Atkinson and Sean Couturier talked today about the fact that they had a challenge this year, the struggle of coming back from surgery. Did the young players pick up on that and see that their strength and how they handle all that situation through the year?
100%, yeah. I think it shows, I mean, why they've been in the league for so long, right? I mean, I think success isn't linear. There's a lot of ups and downs, and I think the guys that stay around handle it the best, you know, and that's about being a pro. You know, sometimes even if it is an injury or you're not playing as much or this and that, it's not going your way. I think just trying to stay consistent throughout it all and in an 82-game season is why they're so good and why they've been in the league for so long.
You had a little bit of time on the power play this year. Is that something that you enjoy doing and maybe want to do more of in the future, and maybe get in the ear of the coaching staff a little bit and say, hey, I kind of like being that now?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's obviously it's a privilege to be on the power play, and no, every time I've been on the power play, I've enjoyed it, and I mean, you're getting out there and they're counting on you to score, so yeah, definitely.
So I guess to start, what does your summer look like? How long will you go home, and will you plan on coming back here at some point too?
Well, I haven't really had that much time to kind of structure up the summer, but yeah, I'll probably head home here in a little bit and probably get back here maybe end of August, something like that, and just do what I normally do to prepare for the season.
If you have an opportunity to play in the World Championships, that's going to be of interest to you.
Yes, it would. I would like to play.
Last offseason, John mentioned a couple times, a couple other guys, you were only slated probably coming into this for 15 to 20 games. Now next season, you could be the guy that's going to be relied on to play another 50 games. Does the mindset change at all for you of how you're working out the summer, or is it just you coming in the exact same way to do exactly what you plan to do?
I would say it stays pretty much the same. I think you always try to take steps, right? So you just try to get better and put myself in a good spot to compete for as many games as I can for next year.
There's obviously a lot of young guys on this team. You're one of them. Do you feel like, as a group, this was a good learning experience to go through this grind, this stretch where every game your kind of lives are on the line?
100%. I think that's you haven't, like, this is the first time we experience it for a lot of us, and just like you said, the grind of the season, the stretches where you're playing every other day for a month, basically. It's something that I haven't done, and you have to kind of learn how to deal with that, how to keep your body and your mind at the best level you can, so you're ready for those games. And I think we got to play some like meaningful games here at the end of the season, and chasing the playoff spot is something that we can definitely take some to learn from and take experience from.
Sam, kind of turning the clock back a couple months, going back to when Carter was no longer available and when you were essentially given the number one job. How did you, in the middle of the year, I guess you had the benefit of having that week of the All-Star break to do it, but how did you recalibrate your mentality to knowing that you were going to be the guy for a team pushing for the playoffs at the NHL level?
Well, I think obviously there was a change. Like you have to be ready to play a lot of games, but I try to. I've said that throughout the year. I've tried to maintain kind of the same mentality throughout it all, and I think that's something that has been important for me to kind of. It helps me push my day-to-day, just being competing in practices and everything. So. As most as I can, I try to stay in the moment and not look too far ahead for preparing, like thinking I'm gonna play this or that many games. I'm just trying to take it one game at a time.
Sam, how would you just maybe assess your season overall, and what are you hoping to maybe build on from this year and improve for next year?
I think this year it was. I felt like it was some ups and downs. I think I had some tough stretches, and I also felt like I had a long stretch where I think I played well consistently over a period of time, and I think that is the key word that I'm trying to push is consistency. I feel like that is the key for me, and to be impactful player in this league is to have your low as high as possible, and try to stay consistent throughout the year and throughout all the challenges that a season provides.
Throughout the course of the year, even going back to last year, seems like Torts has always been a real proponent of you, and as you know, that's not the case with every player. But throughout, even when you were struggling a little bit there, he voiced his confidence in you. Is that something does that mean a lot to you? Does that help you maybe mentally move on after a tough game?
Yes, obviously it means a lot for me in a lot of ways. It's he's given me a lot of chances through this early parts of my NHL career, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think it's given me the opportunity to kind of bounce back is what I've been provided, and I think that is something I wanna. It's also a key trait to have, is the ability, because you're gonna have tough moments and tough games and stretches. It's always about the way you respond, and yeah, that's something that's big for me.
Sam, does it help then with after having that the 8 games, and to have these last 3 games where you only allow in 2 or 3 goals or 2 goals, sorry, in 3 games? Does it kind of help maybe take the sting off a little bit and almost say to yourself like, hey, yeah, I can rebound, I can go and, does it give you a little bit more confidence going into next year with these 3 games?
I do think so. It helps. I feel like we can, or I can hold my head a little bit higher. Like throughout the, it was a tough stretch, and it happened at a tough time of the year. But I think coming out of it, and we did make a valid push, and I think that's something that is also a good experience for us, just knowing what it takes, and I think I've definitely learned from that. Thank you.
You sounded a bit disappointed last night with how things ended, obviously, but when you have time to think about it now, does the good stuff start to sink in that you made a lot of progress this year?
Hopefully in a couple weeks. Still pretty early, I think. Yeah, it's tough. I think when we put ourselves in such a good spot at the start of the year, you're pushing towards that goal of making the playoffs, and you get that taste a little bit. You want to get back there. I haven't experienced playoff hockey in Philly in quite some time, and there's nothing really like it. And I think the guys have had those conversations with each other of getting back there, but yeah, it's still this one stings the most out of my career, I think, just because of the way it went down and just the stretch that we went through at the end of the year, where it could have been a lot different. But you know what? A lot of progress was made, and you got to look at that too. And some of the young guys, some of the older guys, taking a bigger step in our organization, and we'll go from there.
It seemed like you weren't the only one after the game. You zeroed in on the losing streak as the reason for this. The final 3 games, obviously, you came out hard, but I know it's kind of the $1 million question. But looking back, what do you think happened there?
Yeah, I don't know. Have to kind of decompress here and see what went wrong, but our penalty kill kind of let us down during that streak, and then our power play. It's actually pretty impressive what we did all year with our power play the way it was, and not scoring goals. I think your power play wins you games, and during the year, and it didn't win us many games this year. So our 5-on-5 play was pretty strong, and obviously we let in a ton of goals during that stretch, but I don't think it was lack of work or anything like that. I think we were still competing, still in games. I think some of those in conference games kind of hurt us even before that. You have a chance with Pittsburgh, the Islanders, when they come in. Games like that kind of sting you and set you back. And I think
yeah, not even the 8-game losing streak, but some games before that where you kind of could have put the teams away that were chasing you, and we just didn't find a way. So we know, guys know how important points are in this league and how close it comes down to, and every game matters, every point matters, and I think we still have some learning to do.
So the biggest lesson that maybe a lot of the young guys can take out of this is that, you know, Travis was sitting up here and said, you know, it's Tuesday night and you're in some random city, that game can be just as important as, you know, game 82. Is that a lesson that you think the young guys can learn from and grow from?
Absolutely. I think, yeah, you're in the NHL. This is your job, to perform and to show up every night. And that's probably the biggest issue I had early on in my career, was consistency on a night-to-night basis, and still had some of those issues this year of that. But yeah, it's consistency every night, and you see those teams that are at the top of the standings every year. They don't lose 2 in a row. They go on streaks. They go into road cities and they win games, and tough ones, back-to-backs, things like that, and that's where we want to get. I think we made some really good progress from last year, where it kind of felt it felt a lot different. But this was a good stepping stone, and as I look back on it, as I decompress and kind of try and get over this, that's what you'll try and take from it and go into the summer.
Scott, what do you talked a little bit about the power play. What do you think, I guess, went wrong with it this year?
Yeah, probably not enough volume to the net. We just didn't seem to mesh on it, and once you start thinking about it, you go out there, and it's kind of in the back of your head. So I don't know. We'll have to look at that, but like I said, usually playoff teams usually have a top 10 penalty kill and power play, and we had one of them, which was a good step for us. But power plays win you games throughout a year, especially in big games. They take over and they win you games, and they didn't this year for us. So we'll have to get better at it.
Scott, in terms of off-ice stuff, last summer you were in some trade rumors. Obviously, you were in some trade rumors in the lead up to the deadline. You felt pretty confident that you weren't going to get moved based on your conversation with Danny and Jonesy. But I guess how worried are you, that you might not be back next year? Do you feel confident you'll be back?
Yeah, I hope so. Be nice not to think about it for till the draft, I guess. But yeah, I want to be here. I've made it pretty clear. I want to be a part of this. I accept my role wherever it is, and I built a life here, and I want to see it succeed, and want to be a part of this city when we're at the top. And I came in after couple big playoff series in 2010 and 11, and I felt the energy, and we started to get it back this year, and I really want to be a part of this. So we'll see what happens here, but I haven't really put much thought into it. I'll let Danny and Jonesy and those guys take care of that stuff, and whatever they think they need to do for the team going forward. But yeah, I've said it all along, and I'll keep saying it. I love it here, and I want to be here, so I want to win here. That's what I want to do.
Sorry, yeah. When we talked to you leading up to the trade deadline, you talked about knowing where you stand here. Have you been happy just with the communication from Danny and people in management about trying to be as upfront as possible about things?
Yeah, right from the get-go, I guess, when my name was in rumors, I got a call from Torts right away. We had a good chat about it, and all of them were very upfront with me of kind of what they saw and what they were thinking. So I was never in the dark, which was a really good feeling. And you don't see your team president and owner coming down and shaking your hand after every game. Danny's in the locker room, and that feeling makes the players I don't know, not want to play for you, but it is. You wanna be a part of this. Those guys care, and you see it on a day-to-day basis, especially with Dan Hilferty and Jonesy. You don't see that with many teams, and they're there, they're active with us, and they're around all the time. They let you know, and I think it's so beneficial, not only for the young guys, but the older guys too, to feel that, and feels like a family.
Just from an off-ice perspective, did you have, there were a few things that happened over the course of the last few weeks with Sean getting scratched, towards calling the team soft after that Islanders game. Did that have any negative effect at all? Do you think the team handled a lot of the off-ice stuff in the right way, or did that sort of seep in maybe?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough when your captain gets scratched. I think he's the leader of your team, and you want him out there in key situations. So, yeah, it's tough. I think there's different things that go on throughout every year. I think we've had different things for the last couple years here, and you deal with them. Like I said before, it's your job to go on the ice and perform, and the outside noise doesn't really matter. You have to perform, and that stuff happens throughout a year, and you got to deal with it.
You talked about, you and I talked right after the All-Star break, how you kind of changed your mentality a little bit moving forward. Is that something you're hoping to continue, maybe drawing from what you did at that time to maybe next season in your career?
Yeah, I think playing last year in such a prominent role, having all those minutes kind of for the first time in my career being leaned on like that, and coming in this year and still had a pretty prominent role, and then wasn't playing as well as I liked to, and you kind of start seeing more limited, I guess, situations throughout the year, and still think I was a good teammate and everything like that, but I was pretty hard on myself, and hard on myself away from the rink, and after break I kind of just changed my mindset of not letting it affect me as much. I think it kind of eats at you, and from then on I started playing a little bit of better hockey, and contributing a little bit more, and playing more freely, not thinking as much. I think when I'm thinking out there, it's not the best, so try and trust my instincts, and be a physical player that brings value. So I'll continue to work on it. I do a lot of stuff away from the ice like that, and continue to get better.
Travis, when you look back at the 8-game losing streak followed by the couple of wins, what do you think went wrong, and why do you think it took so long to kind of stabilize there?
Not sure.
Not sure.
Yeah, not sure on that.
Do you feel like that losing streak was probably the most costly, though, in terms of you guys trying to get in?
There was plenty. I mean, those were just in a row. There's plenty other losses throughout the year that you could look back on. It's magnified at the time of year, and I think there was another one before the All-Star break. I think there was, so you could probably go back and look at all the different games and say woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we put ourselves in a spot to have a chance, and it didn't go our way.
Why was the power play such a struggle season long?
I don't know. I mean, guys, work hard at it every day. We're always communicating, trying our best to sort things out, and I'm sure it'll be something that we look at this summer and try to improve.
Travis, how would you assess your whole season, and this All-Star, and the career high in goals, and how would you look back on the season for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a good season. I think it's hard right now because you just look at it as you ended on a bad note, and it's been a little bit since I've been in a position to potentially be in the playoffs, and we felt really good about this group. So it's just that's kind of all we're looking at right now. I don't think anyone's doing any individual evaluations right now. You're just kind of trying to figure out what we can do for next year and get ready to get back to work this summer and come back excited again.
Travis, there was a lot of talk this year about how close the room was. Would you say this is the tightest knit group you've experienced since you've played in the NHL?
Honestly, ever since I've been drafted here, the teams, I think it's just part of being a Flyer is, since I've come in, that's what they instilled in us. All the guys that were here is, you got to get close off the ice, and that's what builds it on the ice. And all the players that have been here throughout have kind of just kept that going. So every single year I've played here, it's been a great group and a lot of fun. And this year is just another one of those years where an awesome group of guys, and it was a pleasure playing with them all.
Kind of one of the narratives, one of the talking points going into the season was that while the team is rebuilding, the players are going to essentially decide how long the rebuild takes. After this year, I know it's obviously coming off of not achieving what you guys wanted to, but how close do you think this team is to jumping into the role of kind of being a regular contender in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to say right now that it's going to be next year. I don't know. You see the stats we took this year, and everyone's a year older next year, and we go through it again and see where we're at. I believe that this team could be great and be in the playoffs consistently every year. We have all the tools to do it. It's just a matter of I think this year was good for us being in the spot we were at and learning the importance of not just the last couple games there, but going into next year, maybe it makes you realize that nothing game on a Tuesday, random city, like that game matters, and it's a good mindset for our team to have.
Follow up on that. Many people had you guys penciled out from the beginning of the season to what you guys did. What does that say about this group and how you guys can go forward now in the next step?
Yeah, it's great. I think it was awesome for a lot of the guys to just prove a lot of people wrong and maybe even prove themselves wrong. Like show themselves that we're capable of fighting with every other team, every other top team in the league, and now it's just believing, and we prove it to ourselves. So you can go into the summer now working hard and have that eagerness and hungry attitude to get back at it, and be right back to this spot as quickly as we can next year. We see where we're at again.
How big is the opportunity, starting last year, to be part of the penalty kill? Obviously, there's the shorthanded goals and whatever, but in terms of your growth as an NHL player overall.
Yeah, it's been huge. That was big for me. I think just the belief that I could, be on the penalty kill, because I just felt, at times in my career that maybe I was just limited to a certain type of player, and that was it. So yeah, I've been really happy with that. I think it's added to my game and helped me a lot 5-on-5 too. If you're not feeling it 5-on-5 and you can get a penalty kill in and feel like you're doing something for the team, and maybe boost your energy and your confidence for the rest of the game.
You're obviously eligible to sign an extension this summer. Have you had talks about that with Danny, your agent?
I'm sure. I mean, down the road here, I'll deal with that. I haven't really. I've been focusing so much on trying to get in, but we'll see moving forward.
But you can still see yourself here. It's a long
I love Philly.
Travis, down the stretch there, John mentioned that you and Cam were kind of not on the empty tank, but down towards the bottom of your tank. How actually drained were you guys in that stretch there, where it seemed like he was pressing you guys every single game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously playing a lot, a little banged up as well, and battling through some injuries, and obviously a lot at stake. And in saying that, I think me and Yorkie fully wanted that. We wanted to be carrying the load. We wanted to be a big part of it, and for the most part, I thought me and Yorkie played pretty well, and it's just obviously disappointing with the outcome, but I'm happy with how me and him played down the stretch.
Travis, did you have to, especially in that final month and a half, did you have to change your style at all to maybe be more economical? I mean, we saw how many practices you were missing. It was pretty clear.
Yeah. Maybe early on, maybe not quite as mobile and skating the way that I would have liked to. But in saying that, as things got going, I got more comfortable, understood, how to be more effective, and I thought my skating started to come back towards the end.
Are these the issues you had, the injuries at the end of the year? Are these more just things that need time to recover? Or are you going to need some type of surgery?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty close to feeling back to 100% now. I will take some time off now. I usually take a month at the end of the season anyways, and it'll be good for me, good for my body. Gonna need the recovery time, so looking forward to that.
I know that obviously the emotions are still probably pretty raw right now, but considering, you almost get traded last summer and then you come back and you come into camp this year and you have the kind of season you have, can you at least look back and be proud of what you did as a player and take that moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. I think the way that I attacked my off season, obviously based on a lot of things that went on, used it as motivation, came in ready to prove a point, ready to show the type of player that I thought I was capable of, and I thought for that first quarter of the season, that was the best hockey I've played in my career. So obviously would have liked to have played that way for full 82. That's usually not possible. Usually you have ups and downs throughout the course of the season, but definitely proud of what I did, what I accomplished. I set career highs in all categories, and those are goals that I have coming in, and that's kind of what I set in the off season, and so I'm happy with that. And saying that, I'm going to do the exact same this off season. Going to find motivation. I think the last couple weeks is motivation in itself. Where this team wants to get to, what we're capable of. I think we understand that we're capable of reaching the postseason. And so those are all the things in the offseason that I'm going to continue to look to add to my game. I'm going to try to be a better player when I come back next season and try and take another step.
Travis, as much, just kind of playing off of that, as much as maybe it's things right now, how exciting is the future here with the Flyers?
Yeah, obviously it sucks right now. I would like to think that we deserve to be in the postseason. But obviously a bright future. I think there's a lot of guys that, had great seasons this year. A lot of steps that were made. The locker room was great. That's one thing that, we've all discussed, behind doors here, that, it's just disappointing in the fact that, that group isn't fully going to be together again, and we're going to miss each other. We love that group in there, and we didn't want this to end. Each day that we came to the rink, we loved it, we enjoyed it. I think that's a good thing, and something that we can take moving forward. There's obviously going to be more challenges along the way, and nothing's going to be easy. Nothing's going to be given to us. We're going to have to continue to keep earning it, and this group's going to need to continue to take steps over the next couple seasons.
Speaking of the locker room, a couple of players said that it was nice to have the CEO and the general manager and the president of the team come into the locker room, shake hands, and so forth. How important is that to have that open line of communication?
Yeah, they're a part of the team too. So to have that communication with those guys, it was awesome. They were in there after every game. You're having conversations with them. It's something that I haven't had before, and I think the guys really enjoyed it. It was nice to see, and I think that just goes to show that the team that we're trying to build here, and then the relationships that we're trying to build as well.
Travis, do you feel like you and Cam York can build off of this season, can kind of be a top pair the Flyers can build around as well?
Yeah, I think Yorkie took huge steps this season. For me, I think everyone knew the skill set that he had. I think the maturity of his game that developed this season, the way that he played without the puck, his checking, his ability to make plays under pressure, his ability to make plays when the game's on the line, I think are all big steps that he took this season, and I was fortunate to be able to play with him. So I'm obviously not sure what the case is moving forward, but I love playing with them. I hope that we can continue to play together. I thought we both took strides this season, and I think we're both going to come back looking to take another step as well next season.
John mentioned from the beginning of the season, from right at the beginning of the season, he wanted you on the right side. How do you think you translated that for now sitting here at game 82, how that you feel like you played on the right side?
Yeah. He brought it up to me a couple days before training camp. Obviously, must have been based on how he saw the lineup, and my first opinion or thoughts. I wasn't quite sure. I just spent the whole summer training and skating on the left side, working on my entire game on the left side. And now he's telling me I'm going to play the right side. So I would have liked to have known maybe a couple months sooner, but it was I think it was just more or less my mindset of coming into the camp and where my head was at, that it didn't matter where he was going to put me. I was trying to prove a point, and it worked out really well. I thought the right side was right from the get-go. I thought it was a pretty good fit for me, and obviously he likes me there. I feel comfortable over there now, playing a full season on that side, and I would like to think that that's probably where I'll be moving forward.
Tyson, what did you learn through the course of the last 4 or 5 weeks where the team struggled a little bit to get wins, but you're fighting for your lives pretty much every night?
I think we had a lot of heart all year. I mean, everybody counted us out. Probably everyone said it, but everyone counted us out, and we proved everyone wrong. I think just couldn't get it done in the end, but I think we had a great year.
What can you take away, maybe as just a learning lesson over being in playoff position for so long, then ultimately falling short?
I think just I like how we all stuck together, even when we went through that 8-game stretch. I think we all stuck together. We knew we still had a chance, and I think we gave ourselves a chance at the end, and that's all we could ask for.
Tyson, the scoring splits for you specifically are pretty striking from first half to second half, particularly in terms of your ability to score goals. What do you think caused that? Was it just confidence, or were there technical things that you changed that allowed you to start scoring at the NHL level?
Honestly, I think the puck just started going in the net for me. I feel like at the start of the year I was getting a bunch of grade A chances. I just wasn't, able to score them, and I was still getting those chances second half, and I was just started to score them. So I think, honestly, it was just about actually scoring them and a couple lucky bounces here and there.
How much did your aspects of your game, like your wall play and your back check, even when you weren't scoring, help you kind of stay involved and feel like we're working back towards, high level?
Yeah, I think I was not scoring early on. I was trying to do anything I could to help the team win, and I thought I'd be defense first. So that was my mindset going in.
Yeah, Joel Farabee during the year just praised how you were defensively and away from the puck. Did you ever envision that you could kind of hang your hat on defense? Because I know you've always been pegged as an offensive guy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you just got to adapt, especially in this league. Everyone's unbelievable players, and you just got to adapt and try and be the best player you can be.
Did you feel like you proved to yourself this season that you can be a legitimate high-end player on a good team, or did you always feel like that was going to come?
Maybe a little bit of both. I feel like I have always believed in myself, and just even this year it started off pretty rough for me, or not rough, but it's always better when you start scoring. So I just had to keep believing in myself, and good things happened.
You mentioned that scoring did start there at the beginning, and one of John's main things is always playing tough and always playing that defensive game kind of first. Did it kind of surprise you at all that even through everything, that was one of the main staples, that almost every single game that started the season there, that was one thing that you really kept saying that you were really doing well?
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows how he wants us to play, and that's just how I thought my mindset should be, is try and just be defense first, try not to get scored against, and if I'm not getting scored against, then I'm doing a pretty good job.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.